Hello again. Moon 1, day 5. My name's Ollie, Red Sun Horizon. So, I am an Eastern physiotherapies practitioner from the south of England in Southsea. Specializing in kind of a traditional Chinese medicine, acupressure, acupuncture, and beyond, etc. And looking at crystals and Taoist history. So, day 5 of Moon 1. There are 4 precursors to this one, obviously. Okay, so day 5 is kind of looking at wealth. So something that actually does happen on day 5, or traditionally, is staying home. It's Saturday, stay home. But effectively, so day 5, people would stay home to welcome the god of wealth. Humility yesterday was the god of the kitchen, I believe it was, the kitchen god, that way around. I'm still referencing, sorry, just for point of reference. This is a book called The Lunar Tao, The Lunar Tao by Denming Dao, and it's a daily look at every single day of the 13 lunar cycle, according to Taoist tradition. Okay, so it's a nice little starting place, and I kind of elaborate and expand from there. But today, day 5, as in New Year's Day was 4 days ago. So day 5 is a day where people stay at home and welcome the god of wealth. Some people avoid visiting with family and friends on this day. And I'm going to jump straight down to the god of wealth itself. Families and businesses keep a statue of the god of wealth. Some businesses do reopen on this day, but they open with offerings and lion dances and firecrackers, etc. So obviously, if you need to work on this day, if you need to, it's all that kind of stuff, they would still make offerings and tributes in that sense. Okay, right then, so last bit from this book, and then I'll jump onto the other stuff. So, however, wealth, like many other things, is best in moderation. Too little wealth is ineffective, and too much wealth weighs you down. Okay, so if you're comfortable and you can use your wealth for positive actions, then you are rich enough. Okay, so yeah, that kind of goes back to what we were doing yesterday about counting your blessings and all that kind of stuff. So about gratitude, again, expressing gratitude, keeping a gratitude diary first thing in the mornings. Start the day with 3 things you're thankful for and try and keep them different from the day before. And it really starts to sort of expand your consciousness into the realms of the positive rather than, anything else. Okay, so the god of wealth may accept the offerings on the altar, inhale the incense, and thrill to the firecrackers, but the real offering requires hard work. The real offering he requires is hard work. Okay, so even though today is a day of staying home, I am going to work, and I'm going to try and get this done now, because I need to leave. A couple of crystals, effectively, we'll start with that. So pyrite is probably the most obvious one. It is for one reason anyway, there's other reasons. But pyrite is historically known as fool's gold. It looks goldish, it's a golden colour. We are still in the beginning of the new year, or the Chinese New Year, so gold is very much a focus, golden energies, golden colours, fruits that have golden sort of hues to them, that kind of stuff. So there is that alignment. In the crystal healing community, pyrite is a manifestation stone in that sense. You can kind of use it to try and focus on bringing in wealth, of financial wealth and others. In the Taoist tradition, again, you would have that same sort of thing, but maybe a different word, so it would be more the word alchemy. So everything that's more solid and more weighty is more yin, like the physical earth itself. Everything that is more lighter and transmutive of light itself, as in LIGHT, as in the spectrum of light, is more yang. So something that's more moving is more yang. Something that's more sedating nurturing, sorry, is a better word, inert, is more yin. So pyrite is approximately 50-50 of iron, which is heavy and weighty and is the foundation of red blood cells, and it's as yin as it comes. It's what makes up the majority of the earth, the physical earth. The rest is, trace elements, and then there's the oceans. So 50% iron and then 50% sulfur. So sulfur is obviously, far more yang. It's also toxic, so you wouldn't eat this. Pyrite is generally safe to handle. If you were handling the rougher pyrite that was all like crumbling and onto your hand, you might want to wash your hands afterwards. But generally, pyrite is pretty safe. So that's a nice, easy one. We are talking about work as well in that sense. So obviously, the greatest offering you can make is work. It's so a few tools to kind of like help with people who are, doing a lot and working a lot, working 1, 2, as myself, 2, and to an extent 3 jobs. Little things. So 5 to 8 hertz is, of all the solfeggio frequencies, it's the one that has the most scientific research backing things up. So 528 has been shown to boost testosterone, significantly boost testosterone. And there are a lot of links between testosterone and what we call kidney yang in TCM. So kidney yin, kidney yang. There should be a balance, obviously. There will always be an imbalance as we age, and at some point it all goes, and then once kidney qi completely goes, that is death. So kidney yang is as I said, yang is the more physical, is the more sort of energetic, moving, so often the non-visible. But obviously yin and yang are comparative words. So like you could say, if you took the tortoise and the hare would be yang and the tortoise would be yin, the faster and the slower. But in this sense, we're talking about energy, as in bioelectricity, which could be called qi, but is also congruent with yang, could be described as yang, and then blood or bone and flesh and all the stuff that is more visible, viscous, and physically tangible is more yin. Okay, so the yin nurtures the yang and the yang protects the yin. There's another thing, but we'll go into that. That's a different thing in a sense. That's very much a martial art thing. But just to show you that yin and yang are not absolutes, they are comparative words. Okay, so 528 is also in the chakra system, is aligned with what would be the stomach mu points, Ren 12, but is actually the solar plexus chakra, and that has a lot to do with your own willpower and your own inner strength and everything else, and is kind of where a lot of in martial arts, again going back to that, even though we build qi to here to the lower dantian, actually when we're talking about qi movement from yourself to someone else, it's more from here. Okay, so the solar plexus, Manipura. So where I was going with that, it was so 528 is also known as the miracle tone, or affectionately known as the miracle tone. So it is, if you were going to gravitate towards one thing for manifestation, for riches, that would be the one as well. Okay, couple of points. Actually going to throw some points in today. So when we're talking about work, obviously, so we are talking about, especially if you do physical jobs, but also if you do more sat down and stationary jobs. Ultimately, we're talking about tiredness, we're talking about burnout. So going back to that kidney thing, kidney yin is more the emotional side. Someone who had kidney yin deficiency would probably be really struggling to sleep, or struggling to stay asleep, struggling with nightmares, that kind of stuff. Or just be a generally fearful person. Someone with kidney yang deficiency, that energetic thing is tiredness. So kidney yang is the drive in that sense. So it's more the fundamental, it's the roots, it's the kind of the stuff you're born with. So when you long distance runners who keep pushing through these walls and breaking barriers and all of a sudden you get a second wind. Where's that second wind coming from? It's tapping into kidney yang, and drawing on it and depleting it effectively. So whenever you push yourself beyond your boundaries and you keep doing so, coffee as well, coffee pulls on all this. Coffee gives you this false energy because it's actually just giving you adrenaline. Where do the adrenal glands sit? On the kidneys. So whenever you're constantly in an adrenalized state, you are taxing the kidneys, and the kidney energy is tied to your fundamental DNA, to your roots, to your basal Jing. Effectively, in Chinese it's Jing, but it is your essence, your root essence and energy. Okay, so one nice easy point, really easy to find, really easy to grab, and it is something that tonifies both kidney yin and kidney yang. Cumulatively, the energy of the kidney is called Ji, so ZHI, so Z and an H is always a J. It's somewhere between a D and a J. They also have J within the pinyin, but this is ZH, so it's G. Okay, so effectively, if I can show you from this area, if I go to the outside of here, this is bladder 60, and on the other side is kidney 3. Kidney 3 is the yuan source point, so yuan meaning like the root source or the source point effectively. We have this habit of doing both, of saying the Chinese word and the English word in TCM, or at least in Western TCM. So medial malleolus, so the malleolus is the hard bone at the end of, also condyles, effectively knuckles. Greek word for knuckle is condyle, or condylus, sorry. So at the end of the tibia, and then obviously you have this big obvious knot point here, and the Achilles tendon in between the two, fall in, and it's the deepest dip in there, and you can literally just place your thumb in there and work that. I do this with massage guns, you know, literally you can just sit there and go in there. With acupuncture, obviously you put a needle in there, and then even better, put electroacupuncture, put an electro machine on top of that needle, and you can have one there, and then one in, say, for me, I'm more kidney yang deficient, I'm always tired, so kidney 3 and kidney 7, and do the two together, along with things like stomach 36, which is another point I'm going to add in, which is stomach 36 is effectively here. You can just slide up the lateral side of the shin bone, and the biggest dip you find is the most obvious, or you can go 3 fingers below the patella and go into there, and you find the biggest dip itself again. If you wiggle around, you'll probably find like a band of muscle and a band of muscle. So when you're doing this with your fingers, it's not so much an issue. You can even just like cradle your fingers together like that and just cover the whole side and go in that way. So this is a big old muscle, and if you are someone who does a lot of skipping, a lot of running, all that kind of stuff, you'll probably find all of these muscles would really help from that. This kind of cradle, and place your hands in and work around, so you are working down that like tibialis anterior, etc. So that's stomach 36. Stomach 36 is known as Zhu San Li. So it's Zhu as in a Z, and then San is 3, the number 3. Er San, Yat Yi San, Ich Ni San. It's the same one in Mandarin, Cantonese, Japanese, etc. So it means leg 3 miles, roughly translated. And the last one I'm going to throw in is Shou San Li. So arm 3 miles. So from your, effectively, if you think where you've got tennis elbow, so the lateral epicondyle of the elbow, and you drop in. So this big dip here is large intestine 11. As you come this way down to here, sticking to more the sticking more towards the bone, so your ulna, sorry. So from here you'll find another little dip, but again, because you're doing this with your hand, you can just work around with your hands, and eventually you'll find a key dip there. Obviously I know where it is, but it's there. So Shou San Li. Okay, so Shou San Li is very good for the overall strength of the arm, but it can also help if you ever have like a repetitive strain injury in your extensors. And there's an even better one on this side, which is in the Sanjiao channel. But Shou San Li is for the overall strength of the arm. So if you're somebody who works with your arms all the time, there you'll find these are really nice ones that can help. And Zhu San Li, leg 3 miles, is also good for the overall strength of the leg. But it's also good for the abdomen, and it is the ancient command point for the abdomen as a whole. It tonifies yin, tonifies yang, tonifies blood, tonifies qi. It is kind of the master point of all points. So it's a nice, good one to throw in that you can use. Start 36, kidney 3. If you have and you feel you have arm weakness, you can throw in large intestine 10, Shou San Li. Okay, that is everything for today. I did have a quote from the Tao Te Ching, which is, yes, fill your bowl to the brim and it will spill. Keep sharpening your knife and it will blunt. Chase after money and security and your heart will never unclench. Care about people's approval and you will be their prisoner. Do your work, then step back. The only path to serenity. Yeah. Okay, that's everything for today. I will see you tomorrow.